This is WWP Weekly Wrestling Podcast. Welcome to the Weekly Wrestling Podcast. I'm your co-host, Matthew Grant. We just had Matt Taven of the Kingdom on earlier on today, and now we're being joined by another Kingdom member, as he's the man who holds the title of love. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Bennett. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm doing very well, man. How are you doing?
Oh, you know, hanging in there. Actually packing, getting ready to head for Japan on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, that's what Matt was saying earlier, man. The second time you're heading up there, talk a little bit about the first experience, man, because that had to be something truly special for you.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of surreal because I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I'd ever get the opportunity to go over there. I always wanted to, but I just never thought, you know, with my wrestling style and what I was used to, I just never thought it was going to be a possibility. And then after wrestling Tanahashi, I guess I must have done something right because they specifically asked for me and Maria. So they asked for me and Maria, Adam Cole, and Red Dragon. And so I was just kind of in awe. And then getting over there in the last show of the G1 Climax in front of 20,000, 30,000 people at the Saibu Dome, it was surreal. And getting to wrestle Liger and in Japan, it's a moment that I'll never forget. But I'm so honored and so thrilled to have done it, and I can't believe that I'm going back, and this time for 2.5 weeks. So it's kind of crazy to me.
Probably a pretty crazy change in pace compared to a Ring of Honor show, eh?
Oh yeah, it's totally different, but it's the same, and if that makes any sense. Wrestling is such a universal language, but and it's such a universal experience. Like the fans are so different, but you know, you're in the locker room and you feel kind of the same. You feel like you're at another wrestling show, but the guys over there are so respectful too. So, like I said, there's a lot of differences, but it's also very similar at the same time.
Yeah, and you talked about being over there just for one show. This time you're going to be over there for several shows. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this time I think we're doing like 11 or 12 shows, and like we'll be over there for a total of 18 days, and I think we're doing 12 shows in 18 days. So it's something I've never experienced before. I've never done that many shows in a row. I know Maria has, and she's already told me, she's like, you are going to be so beaten up. And she's poking fun at me because she's like, your back's going to be sore, your knees are going to be sore. So it's just I'm excited for it. And I know that I'm going to be beaten up, but you know, at the experience in itself, it's going to be well worth, getting my ass kicked. So.
Absolutely, man. Talk a little bit about the stuff going on with the Kingdom. You've gotten a chance to work with Matt Hardy, Adam Cole, Matt Taven over the past, I'd say 6 months or so. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, you know, the Kingdom, it all came about because I would say me and Maria and Adam Cole and Matt Taven, we had a really good relationship in the locker room, and it kind of transformed from there, and it really kind of became Maria and Matt Hardy kind of taking me and Cole under their wings, sort of. You know, these two have done, Hardy and Maria have done so much in wrestling and are so respected wherever they go, and you can learn so much from those two. And it was kind of like, all right, we're going to take Cole, and then we're going to take myself, and we're going to transform them and mold them into what what's going to make them stars in professional wrestling. And I think I can probably speak for the two of us, because me and Cole are pretty close, and we've talked about this. And the wealth of knowledge that those two have offered us has just been unbelievable. And then after Hardy had to leave Ring of Honor for stupid reasons, we decided that someone else who's one of my really good friends before Ring of Honor, and then he became really good friends with Cole once he joined Ring of Honor, was Matt Taven, and he just fit so perfectly. We all have the same mindset. We all have the same wrestling style. All our wrestling opinions just kind of mold and really just kind of mesh together. So, and plus our personalities just mold and mesh together. And so the four of us, we formed the Kingdom, and it's just been so much fun.
I know you guys were teasing Matt for so long. Was Matt Hardy a case of wanting to come back, or was it just the whole Taven thing all along?
It was always going to be Taven from the get-go. Once Matt had to leave for reasons out of his and our control, it was, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then once we realized that Taven would be such a good fit, it was always going to be Taven. It was really going to be a way to screw with the Ring of Honor fans and to really make them think one thing was happening when it wasn't. And once, I just remember I think we were in Minnesota when they told us that Taven was joining our group, and I just remember being like a kid in a candy store, because me and Taven are such good friends backstage. I was like, oh, this is going to be really good, and I know Cole and Maria felt the same way. So yeah, it was always Taven once Hardy had to leave.
It's cool to see the two New England boys teaming up, tearing up the Ring of Honor scene now.
Yeah, no, that's why it's so much fun, because I don't know if a lot of people know, but I actually had a big hand in training Taven. Once he had done some backyard stuff, and then when he really got serious about wrestling, he came to Spike Dudley School in Fall River, Massachusetts, and I was helping out there. And I kind of just took him, I was like, oh, he's my age. We have a lot of similarities, and he got it. He knew what he needed to do, and I wouldn't say I trained him in the sense of it was like, oh, let's go to class and let me teach you this, this, and this. It was more in the sense of we were getting booked on the same shows, and because we were traveling together, they were like, oh, well, we'll just put Bennett and Taven and have them wrestle each other. And I mean, me and him have probably wrestled over 100 times against each other, just show after show after show. So getting the opportunity to now team with them and have them in the Kingdom at Ring of Honor, it's such a cool experience.
And talk a little bit about the transition from singles wrestling to tag team wrestling. I almost feel like most wrestlers go through the opposite transition there.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think it's because I'm getting to team with someone who I just gel and vibe with so much. Like you said, you usually go from tag team to singles, but I was getting kind of stale. I wasn't really doing much. Ring of Honor wasn't really doing much for me, so I was just kind of sitting there waiting in the wings, and then this great idea happened to come where it was like, oh, we'll put you with Cole, and you guys can do this. And then once we found out Taven was joining us, I was like, all right, now we're going to have a kind of a new mix, and I'll get to hit the tag team scene. And you know what? It's just fun. It's fun to be able to be out there and play off of someone, because when you're out there by yourself, it's like, all right, I just kind of have to play off of myself and do what I have to do. But when you're out there with someone else, there's so much more fun things you can do, because you have someone to bounce things off of, or you have someone to do this or someone to do that. So it's been really fun for me.
Do you find it more difficult planning things in a tag team match more than a singles match?
Actually, believe it or not, me and Matt were just talking about this. I find it easier to plan a tag match than a singles match, because I don't have to remember so goddamn much. When you're in a singles match, you have to remember the entire thing that you plan out. When it's tag, it's like, all right, I have this, and I'm good, and then I'm going to go let Taven take care of that. All right, I have this, and then I'm good, and now Taven can go take care of that. So I actually find it a little bit easier, believe it or not.
That's an interesting point of view there. The last time we had you on was Final Battle last year, and you were taking on Kevin Steen. Obviously, Kevin Steen moving on to greener pastures. Talk a little bit about where Kevin Steen is right now and your thoughts on it.
It's funny because we talked before that match, right?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, and that turned out to be it might be my favorite match I've had in Ring of Honor.
Really?
Yeah, I had so much fun in there with Kevin. He's so brilliant. He's so talented. And we literally, we put that match together so fast because, believe it or not, 90% of the night was spent with me and him bitching to Ring of Honor about the stupid stretcher that they gave us. So it was like,
oh man, that was so bad.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, why did you give us this MASH style stretcher for the biggest show of the year? And so 90% of the night was spent complaining and bitching about that. So it was like 20 minutes before our match, and we're like,
oh shit.
we're like, we got to put this match together. So, believe it or not, a lot of what we did, we just kind of played out there and just had fun with it. And, we called some stuff in the back, but we had to put it together so fast that we really Kevin's so talented that I knew I could just go out there and just play off what the crowd was doing, play off what he was doing, and we could just put a great match together. But I'm not surprised that he went to WWE. I'm not surprised that that they signed him, because he's just so unbelievably talented. He's one of those guys that once you see him and get to know him and talk to him, you're like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. That feud I had with him from, I believe it was like end of September till Final Battle, so whatever, 4 or 5 months. I learned so much from him. And he's become just a really good friend of mine. I saw him recently down in Florida, and it's just nice to see him and get in touch and talk to him, and he's just a great person. So I really hope, I'd be really surprised if we don't see him on TV like Monday Night Raw at least in the next year. He's way too good not to be.
I 100% agree with you. Over the past year or so, it's been pretty much a constant, you working with the Briscoe brothers. Talk a little bit about that.
It's been so much fun. Those two, besides Kevin, have been my favorite people to work with. I feel like the single matches I've had with Jay have been some of the best matches of my career.
So good.
And yeah, it's just been he's another guy that, I know I can go out there and just click with and click and vibe, because we have we're two different characters out there. And even my single matches with Mark have been fun. The no DQ match we did in New Orleans was one of my favorites. But those two are such an established tag team, and they're so unbelievably talented that it's been like it's almost unfair that I get to go do that every night, because I learn so much, but in the process I have so much fun. So I really hope we get to continue doing it, because I'm just having fun with those two crazy guys.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Talk a little bit about the angle earlier on this year where you got to cut Michael Elgin's hair. Talk a little bit about that, man, because that was very, very interesting to see that come off on camera.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, getting able to do that. It was one of those things where we were building up into our first pay-per-view for Best in the World, and him and Cole were wrestling in the main event, and they really needed some. They had kind of a feud going, but I think because it was a pay-per-view coming up and it was a pay-per-view match, they really wanted to put it over the top. So they came up with this idea of just putting me in the match with Elgin, and then the match ends in a just kind of a cluster because it was a no DQ match, and then Cole and myself and Maria, we zip tie Elgin to the ropes, and then we cut off his mullet. And it really got a cool reaction when we were there. As soon as Cole pulled out the scissors and the crowd knew what we were doing, they started going nuts. And then it got real personal when Elgin's real life wife Mischief came out, and I think everyone kind of knew that she and Elgin were married. And then it just got real personal, and everyone just nailed it. Everyone really killed it, from Cole and his promo, and Elgin and his facial expressions, and Maria just looking over Mischief, just all like slimy and evil, and like me standing below Elgin while his hair's falling on me, and like I became possessed out there. I don't even know what happened to me. It just overtook me. It was just one of those angles that you don't forget, and it was really well done. I think kudos needs to be to everyone involved. Me, Cole, Maria, Elgin, and Mischief. It was one of those things that you just nail, and you know that it was good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And you brought up going into Best in the World. Talk a little bit about going into Ring of Honor's first live pay-per-view.
I was excited because it was in Nashville. Last time we were in Nashville, the crowd was unbelievable, so I knew they were going to be even crazier for a live pay-per-view. I knew the matches, so I knew that people were going to be thrilled for them. The main event I knew was going to be good. The production was going to be over the top, and then I knew I was going into a no DQ match with the Briscoes teaming up with Matt Hardy, so I was like, wow, this is going to be like Christmas morning. Those matches are so much fun. Believe it or not, I think you have to be kind of sick and twisted if you think a no DQ match against the Briscoes is fun. But,
yeah.
But, I knew I was going to take an ass whooping. I knew I was going to give one in return. I knew some of the stuff that me and Matt had planned. And I just knew that the heat me and Matt were going to get in Nashville was going to be over the top. And plus, our good buddy Nick Searcy from Justified was going to be there. So I was pumped because I'm a huge Justified mark. So I was like, all right, this guy's going to be at ringside. It was just exciting. The vibe in the locker room was just exciting. Everyone was just happy to be there. And that's one of the things that I love about being in the locker room of Ring of Honor is it's just a group of guys that love hanging out with each other. And you may not get that at every wrestling company you go to, but it's not like, oh, this guy wants to be better than this guy wants to be. We all try to compete and outdo each other, but it's just a group of guys and a group of buddies who are just having fun at what they do. And that vibe was there in Nashville for Best in the World because it was our first live pay-per-view. So it was a really cool atmosphere to be involved in.
Oh, man, just seeing that come across on television, it was such a great pay-per-view. And now going into you guys' second live pay-per-view, unfortunately you won't be around for it, but talk a little bit more about it. And just, I know you guys, Taven let us know that you guys are going to be taking over the Twitter account of Ring of Honor as well, so that should be very interesting.
Right, yeah, no, it's kind of bittersweet that we're not going to be there. On one hand, it's like, well, you're going to miss out on Ring of Honor's biggest show of the year. But on the other hand, you're like, well, you're doing a 2.5-week tour of Japan with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, you got to take the good with the bad. And
that's exactly what Matt said. If there's any reason to miss Final Battle, that's it.
Yeah, you really can't think of a better reason to miss Final Battle. So I know the show's going to be awesome. Some of the matches they announced, Jay Briscoe versus Adam Cole is going to be by far the best match on the show. Those two are going to tear each other apart, and I think it's going to be a new type of violence that a lot of people haven't seen. So I would viewer discretion advised. If you're not into violence, you may not want to watch that match. But I think that match is going to easily steal the show. Yeah, and like Taven said, me, Taven, and Maria will be live tweeting. So we are going to be our usual obnoxious selves all night, and it's going to be hilarity will ensue.
I'm sure that's going to be hilarious as hell. Talk a little bit about the idea for the title of love. I know Jay Briscoe had the title, then Matt Hardy had the title, and it got transferred to Maria. So talk a little bit about where that idea came from.
Well, the title of love was kind of like a brainchild between me, myself, and the booker Delirious. Once Cole won Jay Briscoe's Cole won the world title, and he won Jay's title at the same time.
Yeah, Ladder Wars. Yep.
Yeah, right. And he presented it to Matt Hardy, which he turned it into the Iconic title, and then unfortunately Matt Hardy had to leave, so he presented Maria with the Iconic title. Now, me and Maria, being the buffoons that we are, decided that we couldn't just keep the Iconic title, so Hunter Delirious, the booker, came up with this idea to kind of pretty it up and make it more feminine. And he really he did all the work on it, so he has to get the credit for it. But he added all that stuff to it, and he made it pretty. He added the pretty butterflies, and if you look real close, it's camouflage. It's pink and green and white, or silver, glittery silver camouflage. And then we just took the pictures for it, and our wedding date stickers are all over it, and us kissing is all over it. And then Delirious added the fur. And then me and Maria, he presented it to us at All-Star Extravaganza, and he's like, you guys come up with the name. And I was just like, title of love. It just popped into my head, and they were like, I love it. It's been so much fun for me because I love being a goof and I love just goofing off. So I literally take that thing to the weirdest places and just take pictures with it. I took it on our honeymoon. I love just taking pictures with it while I'm playing video games. I love being stopped in airports and people asking me, sir, what is that? And I'm like, that's the title of love. And they're like, oh, well, what are you the champion of? And I just tell them, I'm the champion of love. So, yeah, I have a good time with it.
It seems like it, man. It really does. Just because I just got off the air with them, and I definitely wanted to ask you about it. Talk a little bit about your match with Tyson Dukes.
He is one of the most underrated guys in all of professional wrestling. He's helped so many guys out.
It's funny. He pretty much said the same about you.
See, I knew we'd be on the same page. I think that's probably why I like him so much, is because I see so much of myself in him. He's one of those guys who I think is so underappreciated for what he does. He's so talented. He can talk. He can wrestle. He looks like $1 million. I had a blast wrestling him that time in Milwaukee. I just think he's a guy who's not signed to any major company, and he deserves it so much, whether it's WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. He deserves to be at one of those places. He's an asset to any company that will give him a contract.
I couldn't agree more with that one, man. Ring of Honor, apparently there's been breaking news just over the past couple of hours or so, and maybe you can bring some confirmation to it or so, that Ring of Honor is disallowing talents to work other independent promotions. Do you know anything behind this, man?
I do not know anything behind it because they have not said anything to me. I know that they have signed people to exclusive contracts, so it would not surprise me. Believe it or not, I don't think a lot of people know this, but a lot of times I get my information and news, what's Ring of Honor's doing, from wrestling websites, because they don't tell us, or I don't know, or that's how I have to find out. But because actually my contract with Ring of Honor is coming to an end December 1st. So, but the contract I'm currently under is not an exclusive contract, so I have not been reached about that. So I 100% do not know. I wish I could give you a better answer than that.
No, absolutely, man. At least you're honest with me about it, and I appreciate that. Beyond Wrestling is somewhere you were, and very interesting storyline you did with them over the past little while, a couple of months ago. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, that was actually in the past year. That was easily one of my most favorite things I've done, because it was a real life situation that me and the promoter of Beyond Wrestling kind of put our let bygones be bygones and turned it into something that we could do in the ring. And he approached me, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it's actually I used to talk a lot of crap about Beyond Wrestling, but they put on some really good shows at the Fete nightclub in Providence, and it's become easily one of my favorite places to work. Having the opportunity to wrestle Elgin there in a good match, and I wrestled Kimber Lee there in a really fun match, and she's super talented. And I'm just having so much fun there. That crowd hates me so much, and it's so much fun because they love to hate me. It's not like oh, boo, get this guy out of the ring. It's like,
oh man, I've seen the clips. It's crazy.
Oh, it's so much fun. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm going to start a riot there, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to need someone to help me out of the ring, because they're going to kill me. When I attacked Biff at that show, I legit thought people were going to jump into the ring and beat the crap out of me, so I got out of there as quickly as possible. But they're doing a really cool thing there, and I just have so much fun, and I'm sure I'll be working for them in the future, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to see where that company goes and where I go in that company.
Definitely hope to see you back there in the future. You were just after we talked to you last, you went overseas. Talk a little bit about working with Preston City Wrestling.
You know, man, I've had the opportunity to work for so many cool places the last year. It's funny, I'm kind of having a reflective moment, bringing up all these things I did in the last year. But Preston City was another awesome place. The fans are it's a lot like the Beyond fans. They're so into it, and they just have these chants and these sayings, and they sing to you. And that match where me and Maria wrestled Danny Hope and Madman Manson, I think will go down as one of the most ridiculous matches I've ever had in my life. We literally wrestled the match in slow motion, and the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome," in slow motion. And it's actually where, if you watch PWG and see Tommaso Ciampa do slow-mo wrestling out there, that bastard stole it from me and tries to play it off as his own. Me and Tommaso actually did slow-mo road wrestling in Northeast Wrestling, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to take it to PWG." I'm like, "Yeah, you have to take it to PWG because they'll love it." But yeah, Preston City, I can't wait to go back. I think they're going to have an awesome combined show with Ring of Honor. I wish I was doing it, but again, if you're going to miss something like that, you might as well do it for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you also got the chance to work with Lance Storm once again at House of Hardcore. Talk a little bit about that experience.
That was fun because it was like that match felt like just two old buddies coming together, and they're like, "All right, let's do it again." You know, Dreamer had called me, and he's like, "We're doing a show in San Diego. I want to book you and Lance again." And I was like, "Awesome. Let's do it." He's such an awesome person, such a great person to wrestle with. And, you know, when we got there, we saw each other, catching up like two old friends, and then putting that match together. It's like, all right, we knew what each other's going to do. Let's go do it. Let's go have fun. And, all right, we'll see you out there, call most of it in the ring like we did the other matches. And, yeah, it's just so much fun. I literally, he gave me a huge compliment, and he said he could wrestle me every night. And I feel the same way about him. I could literally wrestle that guy every night. I'd probably be able to wrestle until I'm about 80 years old. He's easily one of the best ever.
Oh, man, he's so good. And I've seen you guys have some great matches in the past, so I can just imagine how great that one was.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was just a blast. He's so talented.
Hopefully I don't give you the same jinx that I did Matt Taven earlier on and ask about this question. How you been injury-wise since we last talked to you, buddy?
Well, believe it or not, when you last talked to me, the month before I dislocated my patella tendon in a match. And I was like, yeah. I dislocated it doing a kick in the corner. And I'd never done it before, so I kind of fell to the ground and was like, pulled my knee pad off and was like, oh, there's my kneecap. It's not supposed to be over there. And so I'm not a tough guy whatsoever. I don't pretend to be. Well, I do pretend to be one on TV, but I don't pretend to be one in real life. But I was just like, oh, I better fix that. So I grabbed it and literally pulled it back into place. It was some of the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. But I went to the doctor, and he said it was a clean dislocation, and you're good, nothing tore, nothing broke. I was like, oh, great. So I went on, I rehabbed it, the swelling went down, and then I spent the last year with it kind of doing weird, funky things like tendons clicking and my knee giving out and lots of pain in it. So recently I just went and got an MRI, and they said, no, you're clean. Everything's good. You just have some weak tendons and weak ligaments and cartilage, but, you know, there's some swelling, but you're good to go. So long story short, I've been actually lucky, you know, having had done that to my knee and nothing tearing and nothing breaking. I'm pretty blessed. So.
And talk a little bit about some of the bad injuries you've had over your career.
Oh, you know, and that's another thing is I've been really good with injuries. I mean, I get beat up a lot. I have bumps and bruises. I think I had bone chips in my elbow. But I've had concussions here or there, which I guess, you know, I say that like it's no big deal, but concussions are a really big problem in sports nowadays. But I've never, knock on wood, I've never broken anything. I've never torn anything. I think at one point I might have fractured a bone in my hand, but I never got it looked at, so I can't really tell you whether I did or not. But I've been pretty lucky. I've been pretty safe and pretty lucky. So let's hope that streak continues.
Yeah, hopefully so, man. I'm knocking on wood just like I did with Matt earlier.
Yeah, please do.
Talk a little bit about your Twitter, man. I feel like your Twitter gets a lot of controversy towards it.
You know, I think my Twitter gets a lot of controversy because people just love to give me a hard time. But I think, you know, I bring it on too. But it's more in the sense that I think people don't like it when wrestlers or celebrities are vocal about their opinions and their beliefs. I know Maria goes through it a lot, but I think they just expect you to be, just wrestle and shut up, or just go out there and shake your ass and shut up. And then when they realize, this person has half a brain, they're like, no, just go out there and wrestle and shut up. I have my opinions and I have my beliefs, and I'm sorry, but I was raised where my parents taught me that if you believe in something, stand up for it, and don't take any crap from anybody. So, and I tell people, if you have a problem with my Twitter, you follow me. It's pretty simple. Just hit that unfollow button. You don't have to read my tweets anymore. And I said not that long ago, I'm sorry that my life consists of more than just me being angry about whether Cena and Orton are wrestling again. It just does. I'm a huge political buff.
A great tweet.
Yeah, I'm a huge political buff. I'm a huge history buff. I love to talk about that stuff. And I love to talk about wrestling. So I talk about all of it. And I love to talk about sports. I talk about it all. So if you're not into any of that, just unfollow me. My feelings won't be hurt.
I know you and Maria just got married over the past little while, and I wanted to say congratulations on that, man. How did you guys manage wrestling and wedding planning? Holy crap.
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. It was the best night of my life. Let me just get that out of the way. But I know how I did it, and that's because Maria is a workhorse, and she planned 99.9% of the wedding and worked her ass off to do it. Like, she would literally stay up all night and then all day and get stuff done. I can't, telling you right now, I cannot give it justice how hard that she worked on this wedding. And that's why we gave ourselves about a year and a half for an engagement, because we knew, at least she knew, that all the work that was going to have to go into it. And it's like I say all the time, the stuff she does never ceases to amaze me, because she just pulls stuff out of her ass. And I'm like, how did you do that? Like, what did you? And the wedding just turned out so amazing. And people were just coming up to us telling us this was the most amazing wedding I've ever been to. It was, it was so personal. We felt like it was a party for everyone. And I looked at them and I said, you have to thank her. You have to thank her. It was her vision. And she worked tirelessly to get it accomplished, and she's just an amazing human being.
Now, with that said, not to get too personal here, but is there any interest in a family being made there?
Oh, absolutely. We both love kids. I adore kids. We just want to get to a point where we are 100% satisfied and settled in our career. Then we can focus on our family. We don't want to be kind of like, well, our career's in balance. Let's have kids now so they can be crazy too. So we're going to wait not too long, but just enough so our careers are settled. We know what we want to do. We know where we're headed in the next few years, and then it's family time, because I adore kids.
That's great to hear, man. Talk a little bit about what you got planned in the future. What are some short-term, long-term goals you got?
Well, like I said earlier, my contract with Ring of Honor ends on December 1st, and myself and Maria have been talking with Ring of Honor, but nothing has been finalized. I've reached out to other companies. I honestly don't know where I'm going to end up. I will be a free agent while I'm over in New Japan. I would love to stay over there full time, or just do more tours over there. I'd love to stay with Ring of Honor, but I'm only going to stay if I'm appreciated and things work out. Maybe WWE, who knows? I'm honestly leaving all my options open right now to just see. I'm 29 years old. I'm going to be 30 in May. I want to capitalize on wrestling while I'm still young enough to do so. So I will say definitely, hopefully more stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Hopefully the Kingdom can keep on growing, because working with those people, Maria, Cole, and Taven, has literally been the most fun I've had in wrestling. So I hate to see that get cut short. But again, that's out of my hands. And so yeah, I just look for me to keep having fun in pro wrestling.
That's always great to see, man. You talked a little bit about your appreciation in Ring of Honor. Do you feel like that's something that's been constant in Ring of Honor?
I think it's had its moments. I think for the most part, they haven't capitalized on what I'm fully capable of. But
I 100% agree.
Well, I'm glad someone agrees with me. I think for the most part they've missed some opportunities with me, but I think doing this thing with the Kingdom, they're making up for it, and it's really some of the best work I think myself, Maria, Cole, and Taven have ever done. So I really, truly, deep down in my soul, don't want to see it get cut short. So I hope that the Kingdom's in my future. But like I said, we'll see. Wrestling's a crazy business.
That's for sure, man. Hopefully we'll see you in Toronto when Ring of Honor rolls around in May, and if not, man, hopefully all the best in the future. If there's anything you want to throw out there, whether it be upcoming dates, merch, anything you want to get out there, man, feel free to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like always, just follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeBennett. Follow me on Instagram at @RealMikeBennett. Maria's telling me to say something, but I can't hear her.
Podcast.
Oh, yes, please. She's reminding me to everyone listen to our podcast, Mike and Maria in Wonderland. It's MikeandMariaPodcast.com. Yeah, and Maria's got a film that's coming out shortly called The Bet's a Bet.
Please wish our congratulations to her.
Oh, they said congratulations. It's actually, sorry, they changed the name. It's called Opposite Sex. Okay. I have a movie coming out probably at the beginning.
Mike.
Thank you very much. I play a dirty cop. Yeah, it's called Almost Mercy. It's a really cool movie. Tommy Dreamer's in it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's called Almost Mercy by Woodhaven Productions. Be sure to check it out. If you hate me, you'll love to watch this movie. I'll just say that. So make sure you check it out, and just keep watching us wherever we are. And please follow us in the tag tournament in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Man, that's going to be awesome to see. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully all the best in the future, man. And let Maria know that we'd love to get her back on the show anytime, man.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you two have all the best in the future, man. I just really enjoyed talking to you once again, so hopefully we can make it happen sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fun to have the two of us on at the same time, so let's make that work out sometime in the future.
Sounds good, man. All the best, and thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, man. I always have a